President William Ruto's administration has introduced sweeping changes to the country's value-added tax VAT system outlined in the Financial Bill 2024. These proposed amendments are poised to impact a wide array of products and services, potential reshaping consumer spending patterns across the country. One of the notable revisions that targets essential consumer goods with bread, betting stakes, and credit cards among those slated for price adjustment. The National Treasurer's proposal includes significant increases in VAT on bread with proposed rate of 16%. As a result of consumers may experience a notably outpeak in the cost of these staple food items. Under the proposed changes, a 400 grams loaf of bread could see price hike of at least 10 Kenya shillings, raising the average cost from approximately 65 Kenya shillings to around 75. Other notable changes are the derivation of VAT exemption for specific financial services, adjustments to VAT refund mechanism, alterations to VAT registration thresholds, and revisions in VAT exemptions affecting the tourism and insurance sectors. This anticipated increase reflects the government's efforts to generate additional revenue through adjustments to VAT rates, a move that could have direct implications for household budgets and purchasing power. Here is a breakdown of the key proposals and their potential implications. Deletion of VAT exemptions for financial services. The Financial Bill 2024 suggests eliminating VAT exemptions for several financial services, including issuing credit and credit cards, telegraphic money transfer services, and check handling, processing, clearance, and settlement, including special clearance or cancellation of checks. Others are assurances of security for money, including bills of exchange, promissory notes, money, and postal orders. The assignment of debts for consideration financial services on behalf of another on a commission basis. However, critics urge that these amendments could lead to increased cost for consumers and complicate VAT administration for financial institutions. Expansion of electronic tax invoices. Another proposal under the Finance Bill 2024 is the inclusion of electronic tax invoices. This amendment seeks to align VAT provisions with the existing tax laws. If implemented, businesses will be required to issue electronic tax invoices in transactions effective from July 2024. Analysts view this amendment as a step towards modernizing tax administrations in Kenya. However, some businesses may face challenges in adapting to electronic invoicing systems. Changes in VAT refund regime. The bill suggests several modifications to the VAT refund regime, including the treatment of excess input tax and the time frame for lodging refund claims. While these changes aim to simplify the refund process, concerns have been raised regarding their impact on businesses, particularly manufacturers engaged in official aid-funded projects. Increase of VAT registration thresholds. The Financial Bill proposes raising the mandatory VAT registration thresholds from 500,000 Kenya shillings to 800,000. This adjustment aims to reduce the compliance burden on small businesses. However, some stakeholders urge that the new thresholds may still be inadequate considering Kenya inflation rate and economic condition. Exemption for transfer of business as a going concern. Under the proposed amendments, the transfer of business as a going concern will be exempt from VAT. While this change is welcomed by many, concerns have been raised regarding its potential impact on input tax deductions for vendors. Limitation of VAT exemption on insurance services. The bill suggests limiting VAT exemptions on insurance and reinsurance services to premiums only. This change has raised constitutional concerns as it may lead to increased costs for consumers and undermine the competitiveness of the insurance sector. Removal of tourism sector VAT exemptions. Proposed amendments include the removal of VAT exemptions aimed at boosting the tourism sector. Critics urge that these changes may discourage investments in tourism infrastructure and hinder the sector's growth. Standard rating of betting, gaming, and lottery services. The Finance Bill 2024 proposes removing the VAT exemption for betting, gaming and lottery services, subjecting them to VAT at the standard rate of 16%. This move has stirred discussions within the gambling industry and among policymakers, while proponents urge that taxing these services could generate significant revenue for the government. There are concerns regarding the practical implementation of VAT on betting and lottery transactions. Specifically, it remains unclear how VAT will be calculated for such services, considering that many betting companies do not charge fee directly but rather derive revenue from the amount staked. With an estimated turnover of Kenya shillings 50 billion in 2022, approximately 170 registered firms in the sector, the potential impact of this proposal on the gambling industry is substantial. Stakeholders await further clarity on the implications of these changes and other potential effects on consumer behavior and industry dynamics. Standard rating of local assembled and manufactured mobile phones. The finance bill proposes subjecting the supply of local assembled or manufactured mobile phones to the standard VAT rate. This proposal comes at a time when Kenya is striving to boost its local manufacturing capabilities, particularly in the technology sector. However, some experts argue that maintaining the zero-rated status for local assembled mobile phones will be more conducive to encouraging investment and stimulating growth in the sector. With Kenya recently unveiling its first phone assembly plant, stakeholders emphasize the importance of retaining consecutive incentive for local manufacturing to foster innovations and competitiveness. Removal of VAT exemption for persons with government contracts. Under the Finance Bill 2024, the VAT exemption for taxable goods supplied to persons with government contracts prior to April 25th, 2020 will be removed. This proposal has raised concerns about the government's adherence to contractual obligations and its potential impact on businesses operating under such agreements. Lastly, additional changes to VAT status of various items. The bill proposes a series of changes to the VAT status of various goods and services. Items previously exempt from VAT tax will now be subject to standard rated treatment, while others will be enjoying continued exemption from taxation. Meanwhile, Busia Senator Okiya Omtatah on Sunday, May 12th, revealed that he will be challenging the Finance Bill 2024 should the Appropriation Act not be enacted. Omtatah, during an exclusive interview with one of Kenyan media online, remarked that the proposed tax increases were based on illegality. The vocal senator wondered why President William Ruto's administration was keen on raising taxes without furnishing Parliament with the revenue estimates. He said this, and I quote, "We want to set the Appropriation Act that has good revenue aside, which then the financial bill will be enacted on," he stated. "If that is not done, then we are going to fight it. It is entirely because they must disclose revenue estimates," end of quote. Omtatah revealed that the Kenya Kwanza administration has several occasions given Parliament expenditure for proposed budget without the corresponding source of revenue. The parliamentarian explained that a finance act was measured to raise revenue to finance the budget as outlined in the Public Finance Management. This is Sema na David Chams.